Yes. Here we go. Oh, I meant to play mariachi music at the start. Oh, I messed it up already. Here we go. I'm gonna play some mariachi music as we get in. Come on. Oh, I already messed it up. Happy Cinco de Mayo. I already messed it up. That sounds about right. Cinco de Margo. Cinco de ruin the streamo. Happy Cinco de Mayo, you bags of garbage. Thanks for being here. Welcome. Second ever on stream cold pop. Happy Cinco de bag of rice. Literal bag of rice. Wow. Thanks for being here. I'm going to yell a lot. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for being here. I'm going to tickle your bag. I'm going to yell a little bit. Had 2 margs. Had more than 2, but it's okay. That's all right. That's okay. How are you doing? It is a Corona. This is an actual human Corona. Ah, great. Here we go. I figured I'd start with some Authentico musical. All right, thanks for being here. I do have a spork. I had a taco. Great. I had a TP. So, wow, this is live. I'm going to yell a lot. It's going to be a little bit of yelling. Wow. Yes. We got My Maria in the building. My Maria, you know you got to jump on here. Maria, do you want to chat? Because I have a lot of stuff to chat about, but if you want to chat, I'm happy to have you on here, fam. Hey, all right. Yo, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Thanks for tickling my bag. I have lots of stories that I want to talk about. I want to yell about a couple things. Yo, My Maria, you know you want to get on here. If you want to get on here, and I'll tickle your bag. You can tickle my bag. We can punch each other in the fleshy fun bridge. Don't be afraid of it. I'm just saying, if you want to get on here, you let me know. I'll be here in 5 minutes. You want to do it? You let me know. You post it in the comments. I'll get you on here, Pop. I decided on this particular stream I was going to do a couple different things. I have 1,000 things to scream about. First of all, I'm going to scream about a whole lot of things. But I did decide that I'm going to talk with some people on here. So whoever wants to see My Maria on here, you fucking tag her, because you know she wants to come on here. She's not just watching on Cinco de Mayo and doesn't want to come on here. I got a festive shirt on. She wants to come on. You know you want to come on here. Don't say that my eyes are glossy as fuck. I had a taco. I had a couple margs. Get off my back. It's Mexico Day. Whatever. Let me live my life. Whatever. My eyes are glossy. Look, have you ever considered that it's the light off the screen? It's alcohol. Whatever. Let me live my life. Sorry. I always drink water on here. I'm always drinking water. I decided I would have 1 crispy cold pop. She's busy? Okay, great. Whatever. Fine. Look, I still have a lot to talk about. I want to talk about a pineapple under the sea. Yeah, everybody tag her, blow her up. I need to put some clothes on. All right, cool. All right, so I'm going to jam for a little bit. My Maria, you let me know when you're ready to come on here, and we'll be ready for you. Until then, I'm going to tickle the bags of the people. I'm just going to yell. I'm going to zip. I'm going to zap. It's going to be weird. Everyone's going to hate it. It'll be great. Listen, here's where I want to start, you bags of cheese. You bags of Mexican cheese. Here's where I'm going to start. Listen. Okay. Quick. Excuse me. me, pardon, listen, I got a DM today. I got a DM today from a person that I really like. And it prompted several of the videos that I made today, and I thought it was hilarious because it was just stupid. But it's not her fault that it was stupid. It's whoever the hell's fault it is that posted this post, because it's super dumb, because your intel's trash, because I don't know, like, sorry, I'm not trying to come at you, like, tickle my bag, it's Cinco de Mayo, like, sorry, but like, I don't know, like, I'm not going to let it pass because it's garbage. So listen, here's what it is. I got this DM today that said, is this real? Here's what it said. I hate everything. The world is trash. Everything's garbage. Someone on Facebook said, you're a racist, you bag of rice. All right. She's joking because I've seen her in a lot of streams. But okay, listen. Here's what it said. I got a DM today that said, is this real? And the DM, it was a screenshot of an image that said, oh, God, I love it. I don't even want to read right now, but I'll read it for you. It was a screenshot of a person on Instagram that posted this particular message that I was like, wow. My Maria, give me just a moment. Oh, good God. Listen, so I got this message and it said, big company owners get divorced so that they have a valid reason to offload all the company shares before they fall in the next collapse. Jeff Bezos and dollar bill fences getting divorced means the market collapses are coming very soon. This will then collapse the dollar and let them roll out the central bank digital currency. Don't say you weren't warned. Listen, this is all I have to say. People have been predicting market collapses since the beginning of time, okay? And like, they're rarely right. And when they collapse, they often come back. I'm not saying that they won't. I'm not saying that there won't be some collapse. I'm just saying the world is expanding. The population of the world is expanding. Generally speaking, the money supply is expanding. So predicting a gigantor market collapse that will last until the end of eternity is highly unlikely. But whatever. So but this is my problem. If you want to say that the dollar will collapse, that is also probable as well. The dollar will probably collapse at some point. I don't disagree that is the case, okay? The dollar may collapse. If you listen to Peter Schiff, it probably will. But what I will say is this. Now, they also talk about rolling out a central bank digital currency. That also is possible. I'm going to agree. Also possible. But what I will say, and probably highly likely, but what I will say is this. If you're going to just associate Jeff Bezos and dollar bill fences getting divorced with this impending doom collapse, I think you're off the mark, you beanbag. I'm just saying you can't just connect things that are not necessarily related. You can't just be like, this, therefore this. Because of this, this will occur. It's just like, have you ever considered that just maybe, that it's like, they need a reason to offload company shares before the next collapse. They could just sell the shares. Bill Gates could just go and just sell the shares. No one's going to be like, why are you selling the shares? It would be front page news for 15 seconds, and then the shares would be sold, and then no one would care. Large corporations and CEOs of large businesses sell large swaths of shares all the time, and they don't have to explain it, and it doesn't mean that there's an impending collapse. It doesn't mean there's impending doom. This is complete malarkey where some person is connecting things that are not necessarily related, that might be related in theory, but this is a distraction from the truth. So I'm just saying, it's like, maybe Bill Gates got divorced because he's a freaking weirdo. Maybe he got divorced because his wife is Kevin Kline. Maybe, it doesn't matter, who cares, but you can't just if so facto, then this, the world is on fire. Like, you can't just be like, if Donnie takes a shit, then this guy had a taco, Donnie got a taco bowl in the Trump Tower, and then if so facto, Pompeo, Starlink, Donnie is time traveling. If so, Donnie owns the world. Pompeo's running the planet. They live in a pineapple under the sea. I'm just saying, you can't just connect all of these things. You can't just connect like all of these things at random. I'm just saying, like, that's not how it works. But whatever. I'm just saying, like your intel's garbage. I'm just saying, I don't know. Like, whatever. They're like, all these CEOs quit all the time. Like CEOs, like people that have the most money in the entire world, people that have a quadrillion dollars, they like step down from the CEO of the company. It's the everyday. They're like, I'm good. I have 500 million. Like I could burn 500 million. I could light $500 million on fire like that, and it wouldn't matter. It's like, why would you go to work every day? Like maybe they just quit because they quit. There's lots of CEOs in the world. I'm just saying, just because of 57 of them quit doesn't mean that the world is on the precipice of impending doom. It's like, let me connect random like Donnie's is like Donnie's on Iron Mountain. He's waiting on Iron Mountain. He's waiting for He's like Pompeo. Like he has one of those didgeridoos. He's like he's just like come back. Like Pompeo flies in on the like. I don't think so. That's gonna happen. I'm just saying. Bezos sold his share. It's like, so what, dude? That doesn't mean that the world's going to collapse. I'm just saying that's a bunch of malarkey. Just because these things may be true in theory 100 fucking years from now, or like maybe never ever, but whatever, doesn't mean that you can just be like, you see, because Bill Gates, buy some water because you're all going to die. It's like, I don't think so, Bill. I'm just saying. Like, tickle my bag. I'm sorry. I live in a pineapple under the sea. I'm sorry. Anywho. I know. All right. I know Maria was ready, so I'm going to see if she wants to come on here. But I have a thing that I wanted to talk to her about because I saw her post it today, and I know she posts some cool stuff. But I was like, fam. All right, I'm going to invite her in. So it's kind of weird. No, that's better. Yo, what's going on?
You're on it tonight. Just like talking about Bill Gates. I gotta respectfully disagree. I completely agree with you. Hold on. I completely agree with you in the like the rabbit hole of it all. But I do agree that like it is a in like the legal sense, it's like an event. And it like breaks your tax consequences on that event, like as if I was getting health insurance or something like that. So
does it though?
There is that discussion.
Are you sure that it does?
It does give them a tax consequence or a break.
Are you sure?
So for her it does. So let's say he's got a significant portion of his marital estate in some sort of IRA or some sort of mechanism like that. As they get divorced, she has the opportunity to roll that over or to take money out. If she takes money out, then she has tax consequences. But if she were to roll it over in that way, she would have no tax consequences.
So by roll it over, you just mean transfer to another owner?
Well, transferring it basically into her name only. So that divorce is that kind of, I forget what the insurance companies call it. It's like that event that allows you to do one thing or the other. So it gives her the benefit. So if they, in theory, if she was like kind of like doing the reach around and like helping him out after the fact, then it would have a tax benefit in that way. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that it like leads down to this like rabbit hole of like, oh my god, like Sarah bullshit is happening. So I agree with you on that front, but it still could mean something in the context of like hiding assets type thing.
So, okay. Well, why would somebody that has $136 billion that also said that he was going to give all of his money away, why would he need to hide assets?
Well, the whole thing about giving money away, that's a tax thing too. People don't realize.
When he dies.
Any dollar you're writing off in that sense, you're writing off somewhere else. So people give money away in order to lower their effective tax base on an annual basis.
You think a person with $136 billion cares about writing off a small amount of tax dollars?
Oh, for sure.
Why?
For sure.
Why?
You have to think he's making at least probably 10% on his money every year.
So he's got more money than he could ever spend in 100 lifetimes.
But also think about that he's hiring people to do what's in his best interest all the time. So yes, he might be a 134 billionaire, but they're still looking to cut his costs at all possible all the time.
So he divorced his wife to save money?
I'm not saying that. I don't know that for sure. All I'm saying to you is that there is a tax off and say there's nothing to it, I think would be naive in that sense. So I like to look at all potential possibilities. I don't think it leads down to the rabbit hole that most of the people in this community are at this time, but I would like to say this could be a result, this could be a consequence or something like that.
If any person in the world would not care about the amount of money that they could potentially lose as a result of some action, don't you think that like the top 50 people in the world that have literally more money, if you have $136 billion, you could set your kids up, your kids, you could set up you could literally set up 50 generations of people to never need money again. But you're going to tell me that Bill is going to break up as his wife to save a tax break? I mean, come on, dude.
No, I'm just saying like there could be a great deal of things going on right now. So should you go down the rabbit hole that like Gates is somehow being held accountable in some way, then this is what could help that argument. Now, if you just think it's a whole fucking divorce thing, then yeah, that's a possibility. I just like to talk about what possibilities could be.
Yeah, but
and to not write anything off in any sort of way.
But there could be a pineapple under the sea.
The only other thing I wanted to say was that, I mean, this could be a complete divorce. Even if it is a complete divorce, I still think she fucking looks like Kevin Klein.
She does.
You know what I mean? Like,
I did see you post on that.
Let's have a flow and template discussion thereafter, apart from the divorce and what that could mean. But yeah, who the fuck knows? At the end of the day, it's still a distraction. It's still distracting us from some other conversation that should be going on right now.
Well, that may be the case, but like, is no. No. What? It pisses me off. Well, what I'm suggesting. Oh, I totally forgot. I totally forgot that the people on YouTube and Facebook can't hear this. I totally forgot that. I'm gonna put my microphone up so they can hear you. They can't see. Hold on. No. I just want them to be able to hear you. Hold on one second.
Hold on. I'm gonna talk then. Somebody said D_Far said, I think she took a deal and is divorcing him so she can testify against him. I want to clear this up. Hi, I'm a lawyer in real life. So there's something called marital privilege. Marital privilege exists during the entirety of your marriage. Marital privilege cannot be waived unless by the spouse themselves. So nobody can compel her to testify between the date of marriage and the date of divorce. She could testify about things after that. She could testify about things before that. So all I want to say is that like divorce does not destroy the privilege in any sort of way. So like that's not a part of the argument.
I have a problem with like, I think that in theory, one could say that any happening is a distraction from other things happening. Just in the simple nature of just what it is. But
that's always true. But like put no variable to it.
But that kind of like mutes it out. So it's like if Snoop Dogg died tomorrow, it would be like Snoop Dogg died, and it would just be like distraction from Biden doing whatever. It's like, in theory, everything is a distraction from everything.
Right. No, I completely agree with that.
So it kind of mutes that whole point. So distraction is now gone. Would you agree?
Well, just because the distraction exists, I mean, just because we're distracting one thing from the other, that doesn't negate it in my mind. So,
okay.
You and I can negate the distraction because it no longer distracts us, but it's still a distraction to 90%, 95% of the population.
Okay.
What would you categorize as the percentage of the American population?
But I'm just saying that, like, you could consider anything to be a distraction. I think that, I don't know that.
But I'm just saying, like, one distraction doesn't negate another distraction.
No, but what I'm saying is that just because this is a thing that the mainstream media happens to elevate, doesn't mean that it is intentionally a distraction from X, Y, and Z.
Oh, I think everything's intentionally a distraction. Nothing goes out into the media unless there's a specific purpose.
Right. So let's just say that it is a distraction. But what I'm saying is that they didn't get divorced with the intention of it being a distraction.
Well, how do you know that? How do you know they're not characters in a script? How do you know that they're not like templates or clones?
Well,
or that like they're not handed a specific script to act in a certain way, and that this part of the story is a distraction for some. Like I like when if anybody that's watch or listen to my podcast with Marg, you can say whatever you want about him, but at one point he talks about category theory. He says not every single one of my tweets is meant for every single one of my followers. So in that kind of like grand theory that like you do certain things that mean certain things to certain people, we're not a part of those people anymore. So like we can talk about things objectively, but I don't think that we should ever take really a subjective approach to it anymore.
But
and I think you're taking a subjective approach.
But I just don't. I just have a tough time just associating anything with all other things simply because it exists. It's like, oh,
you can't associate one thing with all other things because it exists, but like that is string theory. Like that is the theory of the universe.
But that's like, but
Bobby, we gotta get more esoteric here.
But what I'm suggesting is that many people do what you're saying right now. And they're like, because of X, all of these things are glued together because of all of these things.
No. You're completely mischaracterizing me. I say
I'm not mischaracterizing. I said people. I didn't say you. I just said people.
Me and my people say X exists. And because X exists, there are an infinite number of Y possibilities. That's what I say. I don't say because X exists, it has to be all these other things. I just like to talk about what could be happening. I think is the discussion to be happening at this point.
But you're drawing that inference, and I'm drawing
no inference.
But you're broadcasting the inference as if it was connected. That's like.
I think that's what people always miscategorize me as. Should I say one thing that means something? Every time I say something, it's always a possibility. And I normally frame myself that way. But I think I do that. I'm not saying the whole community does that. I think that's where we get pigeonholed and we look like idiots. And that's where the people are talking about like QAnon and all this stuff right now. Because some people say, again, because X, then Y must happen. But the real discussion should just be what the possibility is at this point. Because honestly, we're never going to fucking know what the point of the Gates divorce was, whether or not
But what if they just got divorced?
Most definitely a possibility. But still, even if they are just getting divorced, okay, objectively, go back and look at the articles that came out in the 90s and the 2000s that talked about the girlfriend that he was allowed to have based on their marriage and allowed to do all these things.
Right.
So if he's allowed to do that for 20 plus years, then your divorce is still strategic at this point.
You don't know that.
Oh, most definitely, I don't know that, but I can talk about the
possibility. But that's like me talking about the possibility that an alien landed in Washington D.C. and because of that reason, something happened. I'm just saying that you're drawing and broadcasting, and I'm not even saying you. I'm just saying anybody drawing and broadcasting an inference because it could be a thing is counterproductive to things that are actually things.
I disagree because the whole discussion of like things being actually things, I think is subjective. I think if we limit the conversation in any sort of way, then we're not really any different than the people that we're quote unquote like fighting about. So like you can get mad that people are talking about this, but you can get mad that people pigeonhole themselves into a position rather than having a discussion. But me personally, like I can't get mad at the conversation.
I'm not mad at the conversation. I just disagree with the productivity of what could be had in the same conversation. If I'm saying that, like,
oh, for sure,
there's
a very limited conversation. This is what we know. This is what we don't know, and it's a divorce. Okay, let's keep watching, and we'll see what happens.
What I'm saying is that there's objectively hundreds of things that are really bad that we could almost prove to be true, that we can objectively look at and be like, this is a thing and this is worth us paying attention to as we broadcast them around. Yet we're drawing these inferences like, well, Bill Gates got divorced and therefore it's because of X. And let's just wonder because it could be. Meanwhile, all these things that are actually happening that we can prove are happening that are really bad, that are counterproductive to everything, we're missing as we're like, I wonder what happened with Bill Gates. I'm not saying that it's not possible. What I'm saying is that there's more productive uses of our time that on things that are like kind of like objectively true. Like, for example, like there's like, let's just use a basic one. Like there's a crisis at the southern border. It's like, couldn't we talk about that and the issue of that? And that would be a more productive use of time. Uh-oh. I don't know if I'm lagging or she's lagging. Uh-oh, we got clapped. I don't know if you guys can see me or see her. Oh, no. Oh, no. All right. So hopefully she comes back. Yo, so what I was saying, what I'll say until she comes back, is what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with what she's saying. I'm not disagreeing with the possibility that it exists. I'm not disagreeing with the possibility that that could be the case. What I'm saying is that wouldn't it be interesting if the productive use of our time was on more objective things that we could validate to be true, that we could verify to be true? It's like, should we spend our time talking about like if dollar bill divorce, like if it was for these reasons to save tax, like of all people on the planet of Earth that would need to save tax dollars, it's like, I'm pretty sure dollar bill doesn't need to save tax dollars. Like his 5 kids could have enough stocks that could be gifted to them that would take care of them for 500 lifetimes. It's like, I just don't think that this guy is like, let me divorce my wife to like save tax dollars. Like it just seems highly improbable to me. And so what I'm saying, it says she's unable to join. That's annoying. Like, hold on, let me try again. I think I got her this time. Oh, yeah. People like, it's not about saving tax dollars, it's about protecting their assets. They're not, their assets aren't seized. Nobody seizes your assets in a divorce. What are you talking about? You don't have assets seized in a divorce. Like, what are you even talking about? Someone in the comments is like, your assets get seized. What seized? What do you mean? Like, that's not a thing. Like, I'm not trying to be a D-bag, but like, that doesn't exist. Yo, Maria, if you're in here, I invited you back, but it's like clapping your cheeks. Hold on, let me see if this works. Did I get it this time? What tune did the create? Yo, Maria, it's clapping us right now. It's like, I'm inviting you, but it's being a chooch. That's annoying. All right, she's about to clown me. She says assets are seized in a divorce. Well, tickle my bag. Maybe she's right. She knows better than me. She is an attorney. I'm just a jabron. Uh-oh. Assets are seized. Uh-oh. I'm about to get clowned. She's about to come in here and zap me. I don't know why it's not working. That's so annoying. The courts will seize a home and sell it to divide funds. Yeah, but that's not seizing it. Like seizing it's like taking it away completely. I mean, she'll tell me, she'll own me in the law stuff. Maria's owning me right now. She's gonna kill me. I don't know. Assets being freezed is not the same as assets being seized. Those are different things. Yeah, freezed and seized is not the same thing. Can you invite me instead of requesting? I am inviting you, Maria. I don't know why it's not letting me. If it doesn't work, I'll start it over and I'll try again. Yo, Maria, close your Instagram out and reopen it again, and then try to jump back in. And if it doesn't work, then I'll close mine and I'll start it again. Rich people pay a shit ton of taxes. I work with them and they all do this for taxes. Yeah, but rich people doing it for taxes is not the same as Bill fucking Gates doing it. This guy's like $150 billion. Like, I'm sure I don't know, man. I just don't really think that dollar bills like, let me save a couple of coins on taxes. I don't know, maybe. All right, it's clapping me. All right, well, I guess we're gonna lose this one and we're gonna start it over. I got no problem losing it. End and restart real quick. People are like, all right, yeah, all right, I restarted it. I'm willing to squander it. We talked about some dicey things anyhow. Yo, what's up, you bags of rice? We just ended a live stream. It got deleted. It got tossed into the ether. And here we are restarting. What's up again, fam? Yeah, I'm getting clapped. We're getting clapped. All right, let's try again. Yes, there we go.
Yay, we back.
Yo, are you about to own me on legal jargon?
I'm about to own you on some like divorce law. Ooh, I love that.
Oh no, here we go. All right, let's go. Let's get it.
Are you ready? Okay. So, anytime somebody files for divorce, there is a set of statutory injunctions that go into place, meaning that you cannot transfer, hide, freeze, buy, sell any sort of assets whatsoever. All of your assets have to stay exactly the same unless by agreement or by court order. So in most states, there is some sort of like statutory waiting time. So in this instance, it appears as though they do not have a prenup. I don't know off the top of my head if they were if they were married in California and have basically lived in California this entire time. California is a community property state.
They live in Washington.
What?
They live in Washington, Seattle.
Okay. Well, all of that to say that a great deal of their business, I think, was created in California, which could be considered community property. And all of that means is that there's no distinction between separate property. So everything they had at the moment that they got married became 50-50. So that's what she's probably entitled to. If there's some sort of like contest in that, they have a contested divorce, and those statutory injunctions would be in place the entire time that the divorce is pending. So yes, all of their assets would be frozen theoretically, and they would not be able to do anything absent a court order on that. And that would include the very basics of like sharing or selling stock.
But isn't that only if they don't agree to just handle it on their own?
Correct. But theoretically, like those statutory injunctions are in place the entire time in which the divorce is pending. They can still, obviously, again, like I said, by agreement, do whatever they want. But I think at a minimum, California requires a 6-month waiting period, which...
They don't live in California. They live in Seattle, and Microsoft headquarters is in Washington. Fucking...
Oh, they don't live in California again.
They live in Washington State.
All that to say, like, yes, divorce courts... That's my bad again, I'm sorry. All that to say is that, like, yes, your assets can be frozen pursuant to a divorce. I think most of the people that are talking about this are referencing the December 2017 executive order that was signed by Trump as it relates to human trafficking, that the government has the ability to seize your assets in that way. And they think that they're kind of doing something strategically to prevent that type of thing. I don't think that's happening by any means.
No.
I do think that
that's not happening. There's
the actual
no way that's happening.
That you haven't really brought up yet is that they could foresee some sort of economic collapse coming. And so they could be setting up assets in that way.
But they don't save tax dollars by transferring money to each other. They can't avoid taxes by divorcing. That's not a thing.
I'm not saying in that hypothetical that taxes are involved. I'm just saying that they could foresee some sort of like economic collapse coming, and they'd be like structuring assets in that way.
But they would be just the same off together.
Well, the whole thing though is you and I probably talked about this for like a collective 15 minutes at this point, and like who cares?
We care, obviously, if we're talking about, but I'm just saying that like there.
Oh,
look,
I don't care. I like to talk about what the possibilities are.
What I'm saying is that unequivocally, there is no tax benefit to getting a divorce, and to suggest that these two people are getting a divorce for some type of tax benefit because of some impending economic collapse is fucking insane.
Okay, but what about this? So they get divorced, they split their assets 50-50. She gets that tax benefit. She doesn't have to claim any sort of income this year. It just is her property, okay?
It would have been her property anyways.
What?
It would have been her property anyways. I'll let you go, but it would have been her property anyways. But okay, go ahead.
I mean, like I'm saying that they're separate property at this point. It goes from joint property to separate property. Let's just pretend that happens.
Okay.
And let's pretend that she then sells it at that time and gains that sort of benefit, and then for some reason he can't sell it at that time because he has knowledge and that would be insider trading, and he has to keep it the way that it is, and he's going to lose his ass on that and owe X and Y and Z and have like, let's say he's about to get sued out the fucking wazoo, and he's going to have a judgment of X, and it's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars. Then you would give your wife half of everything, because you know 3 or 4 or 5 years from now you're going to owe a judgment in the millions of dollars, and then you guys can quietly fucking get back together, do whatever, and you have half of your assets back that were then not subject to collection by judgment. I'm just saying there are a multitude of reasons why this could be happening. You're the one looshing this by continuing to talk about it and acting like it only has to be your way and no other way at all.
You're drawing a lot of arbitrary conclusions with no basis in fact.
I'm not drawing any conclusions.
Oh no.
I keep talking about possibilities.
Well, I could fall off a bridge tomorrow too, and I could die, but what does that even mean?
It doesn't mean anything. It happens in one timeline or another.
But what I'm saying is the problem. This is my problem with what you're saying. I don't disagree with you that this could happen. It might even be likely. But what I'm saying is you have absolutely no indication to validate whether or not that's true, other than you just thinking that that's possible. You have no indication that that's actually the case. You're just completely pulling that out of the sky.
Okay, Bobby, but you have no indication whether my hypothetical, your hypothetical, or 1,000 other hypotheticals are correct.
Okay.
So you wanna
Come on, the burden of proof.
And say that my conversation could possibly 99.9% not be a possibility. I don't agree with you.
That's your legal defense.
You have no fucking idea either, just as much as I don't have any fucking idea.
Yeah, but I'm not making claims.
I have the conversation and you want to yell about it.
But I'm not making claims about it, and you are.
I'm not making claims.
Yes, you are.
Literally, how many times have I told you tonight? I'm just having a
What
conversation.
the fuck?
Are the possibilities?
You're having a conversation.
I'm not making a definitive. Like, if you know a lawyer, we never really say one thing or the other.
Oh, you're not making. Oh, okay. So hold on a second. So
you want to pigeonhole me into a position, and you can try all fucking night, but you're not going to do it.
pigeon what now?
Pigeonhole.
I heard what you said. I'm just kidding. Holy hell. All right, listen. All right. If you're going to tell me that the theoretical claims that you're making are in
I'm
some.
not making any claims.
You're
Theories are not claims. Open your mind up, Bobby. Lord.
All right.
Don't like smoke a little weed. Get
Well-
on the right side
Pardon me, Bill? All right, hold on a second. If you're saying that somehow the things that you're suggesting could be theoretically true have the same burden of proof that need to be proved as me saying, what if they're just not? Those are not equivalent things. I'm just saying, like, you don't know that, and you're like, well, you don't know that I don't know that. Your defense is like, it could be true, and you don't know that it's not. It's like, I know that I don't know that it's not, but I'm not saying that it could be. I'm just saying nothing. My position would be nothing. My position would be like, maybe these people got divorced. I don't know why, but maybe they did. Whereas you're like, they could have got divorced for impending doom. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't broadcast that to 250 people right now, you know?
Well, I think what you're misconstruing is that I'm the one that's actually not taking a position by talking about all of the possibilities, whereas you are taking a position by telling me that my conversation is either ludicrous, inappropriate, or saying they're not possible whatsoever. I don't mean this.
I'm not saying it's not possible.
I don't mean it in any sort of, don't take that in any sort of emotional way, because that's what most people do. That's just a very objective response to what you're telling me right now. I'm literally taking no position. I've made no claim. I've not stated my opinion at this time whatsoever. You keep wanting kind of categorizing my opinion as one thing or the other, which is your deal, not my deal at this point.
Okay, hold on.
I love you.
Hold on.
But I think you're extremely wrong, and you're the one that keeps perpetuating the illusion.
Okay, well, you're suggesting that you're not making a claim, but you're broadcasting the idea that the claim could exist.
You want to limit that claims exist?
No, I don't want to limit that claims exist. I'm just saying, is that really productive?
I'm not saying I'm making no comment on productivity whatsoever. But I don't think that this is really a conversation about productivity, because at the end of the day, nobody fucking knows what's going on. So is it productive for me to talk about something that I find to be more relevant than less relevant, which for you is less relevant than relevant? That's all an individual decision at this point.
That's fair.
If you don't like what people are saying,
that's fair.
Maybe you should stop following them.
I'm not following anything. You make a very fair point. My suggestion is, all right, so let me rephrase it. My suggestion, because I think that you and I have generally the same goals overall. This is my suggestion. This is not an analysis on what you do. This is just a suggestion. My suggestion is that if we were to take the broadcasting power that we have to talk about things that are more objectively provable to be true, it would be more valuable overall towards advancing towards the goal that you and I believe is the goal. If we're just like, maybe Bill Gates maybe divorced her because she maybe is they're maybe preparing for some incoming collapse, maybe, as opposed to being like, there's people being thrown over the border in Mexico. I'm just saying that maybe that would be a more productive use of time, and maybe it would advance further towards our goals. I'm not saying that you're right or that I know it to be true or that I have any analysis on it. I'm just saying, if we're going to be broadcasting something, wouldn't it be more productive if we talked about things like that? I'm not saying that you shouldn't talk about them. I'm just saying, wouldn't it be more productive and thus more beneficial to the cause?
Oh. I completely agree with you. But here's the thing at the end of the day. At the very beginning of my account, the whole purpose of my account was that, like, I would see these posts and they were all legally, like, intertwined and nothing made sense. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to start, like, trickling some stuff out here, talking some legal shit, telling people what they're wrong about, posting all these fake indictments. And I used to have this guy friend that was kind of like, he called himself my, like, fake manager. And at one point he told me, he was like, you've got to stop with the legal stuff only. People don't like it. They just want to see the funny things. And I think you could probably agree with me at this time that anytime if I break something down, if I, like, pour my heart and soul of, like, 2 or 3 hours into a post that's, like, all about the legal stuff, about everything, I get, like, 100 likes. And if I post, like, a stupid fucking meme, I just kind of want to they want to see. They want to talk about what they want to talk about. You know, the Melinda Gates and the Bill Gates and the Kevin Klein and all of those possibilities. They're fun and they're flirty and they get lots of likes and lots of comments and lots of interaction. And me being honest, on an unfortunate basis, that's what fucking like gets people off. I'd love to have more of a conversation about grassroots politicization and how we can fucking improve the world, but nobody comments on those posts. Nobody likes those posts.
Okay. So okay.
I can agree with you on the productivity level in that respect.
Well,
but unfortunately, that's what our followers interact with.
Okay. Let me inject with that. Okay. Don't you think that mindset in and of itself explains Kardashians versus documentary?
Well, I mean, the unfortunate thing is that like a bunch of us who follow the Kardashians, and you can apply the Kardashians to any gender or like age range at this point. Like you've got your idols, people have got the people that they worship and idolize in that way. Like that's what people are more interested in. And that's what people. So if you kind of like got onto the QAnon team sometime between 2017 and like 2020, you transferred your obsession with the celebrity and you transferred that into like the QAnon and all of this stuff of it all. And then all you're really interested in is this kind of like same fame whore stuff.
Okay.
And not in like the research and like the possibility of what could happen.
What I'm saying is that I think what you are saying, and maybe look, you don't have to agree with me on this. I think what you're saying is basically what has led us to many of the problems that we have in the world, which is that you're measuring impact in views and comments as opposed to what is necessary. And you're saying that I'm not going to post this because it doesn't get likes and comments. So therefore, I'm going to post what gets likes and comments, which basically means that you're doing the same thing that the mainstream news media does, which is I'm going to post someone getting murdered as opposed to something that's going to be productive for society. I'm not trying to dog on you for it. I'm not trying to dunk on you. But hold on. I'm not saying that's what you do. I'm just saying that that's what you're saying. What I'm saying is that like, if we measure everything in likes and comments, if we measure everything in engagement, as opposed to what we think needs to be said in order for us to move the needle forward, then we're being, in theory, we're being slaves to the dollar. It may not be the dollar, but it's attention. So what I'm saying is this. Hold on. Let me finish. I'll let you go. Just give me a second. What I'm saying is that if you go towards the attention in the comments, and if you only create things that follow that narrative, then you're not creating new things that may have more value with less engagement. And a lot of the things that I create sometimes don't get as many views, but have more impact. They have more positive upside benefit because more people will reach out to me or it will affect them in more of a way. I posted a really motivational video that was one of the best that I ever did, live streams 2 days ago. It has 2,000 views. Most of my videos get 10,000, 20,000, sometimes 50,000. But this one only has 2. But I got more messages and more impact from that, from the 2,000 people that saw it, than the ones that got 50. So it's not necessarily always about the engagement and numbers. It's about the impact as a result. So what I'm saying is like, if we could only do things that had more impact purpose and not just measure them in comments and engagement, then we would be able to move the needle forward about what we think needs to happen in the world. That's what I'm saying.
No, I completely agree with you. And I will say that that conversation that my friend and I had, it changed my content in a way that I don't limit myself. I don't limit my posts. Like I still make those legal posts. I still talk about that type of rhetoric. But in addition to that, I added the memes and I added the funny stuff and I added the more like personal stuff with that because unfortunately that's what gets engagement. And at the end of the day, I agree with you that like hopefully in my mind, you know, the posts that I like poured my heart into and I did all this explanation and I hope that are resonating with someone perhaps resonates with that individual who doesn't like the photo. Because like on my personal page, I'm not a liker. I scroll and I demographic, an individual who is reading my post and your post, the ones that are, I think I saw you today or yesterday, I don't remember what it was, talking about you're being very passionate, you know what I mean? And I really appreciated what, like, the brief amount of time that I was able to see in those couple minutes. And so I think there are people that appreciate us more than we realize and that aren't commenting or liking or sending a DM because that's just not really in their nature. But unfortunately for you and me, like, that's how you and I gauge things at times, you know? And so by adding, like, the funny, personal bullshit stuff, mean stuff, like, does that really detract from my content? I don't think so, because, like, that's unfortunately how I gauge the interaction at this point.
I'm not saying that it detracts from it. What I'm saying is that you shouldn't.
I'm just talking to you. I'm not saying that you said one thing or the other.
But you shouldn't. My suggestion is that I don't think that those things detract because they provide more depth. So let me give you an example. When I first started my account, I contacted like Instagram chicks that would have 200,000 followers because they would sell posts and whatnot for $50. And I remember I messaged this girl one time that had 200,000 followers. And she's like, I'll sell you a post for $50, but I'm going to lose 1,000 followers as a result. So I paid for this post and I got a couple of followers, but the quality of the followers were not there. They were there to see this girl's ass. They were there for tits and ass. The quality of 100,000 followers is less valuable than 20,000 engaged followers that are not there for tits and ass. So what I realized was that it's not all about numbers. And if I have 10 people that watch a video or 1,000 people that watch a video, the 10 people that watch a video could be Oprah, Donnie, Donald Trump Jr., James O'Keefe. It could be 10 people that really have pull versus 10 people that are there to see someone's ass. So what I'm saying is that, like, the metric of the numbers is not as valuable as the metric of knowing that what you're doing has the impact. So even though you post memes to create engagement, and I don't suggest that you shouldn't, what I'm saying is that, like, we can't measure impact in comments, views, and engagement. We can only measure it in the sense that we know that what we're saying is right to move the general conversation forward. And what I'm saying is that, like, if at 1 o'clock in the morning or 11:38, you and I can get hundreds of people on here to view what we're going to say, if we could only be as productive to talk about things that are objectively true, that would change the conversation for the better, that would make the world and America, in theory, a better place, than being like, Bill Gates might be such and such. Not that I'm devaluing the fact that exists. I'm just saying that, like, I just would hope, and I hope that we do more things that are productive like that, as opposed to being like, maybe. Now, I'm not saying don't do it, and I'm not saying that people don't like it, and I'm not saying that it doesn't have virality. I'm just saying that, like, when I talk about stuff, I really try to make sure that like real value is created, because it's something that I can objectively prove to be true or is very close. And even though you might be spot on, I just wish that we would use this time and this precious attention that we have to talk about things that could, like, really move the needle, because I think that we have a lot more power than we think. And the hundreds of people that watch this right now and the thousands of people that will watch it tomorrow, if they're like, Bill Gates might have gotten divorced to save tax dollars, if those people were instead thinking about, hey, there's a crisis at the border. Hey, we should try to vote in more people that think about freedom. Hey, we shouldn't be fucking with these diapers. Hey, maybe I can convince my local barbershop to not make me wear a mask when I get a haircut. We would be creating more productive value because we have power. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying that I wish that we would do more of that. That's all.
Well, again, I think that you're still kind of having a limited conversation in the sense that, yes, we want to be talking about different subjects, more subjects, the better subjects. But again, it's all of that is still viewed by the engagement and what people are talking about and what you see on social media, unfortunately, in that way. So I most definitely agree with you. I think there are things, there are psyops, there are false flags, there are subject matters that don't matter, that all of us are like the adrenochrome of it all, the Hillary Clinton of it all, the Obama of it all, like holding those people accountable, like that's a dead conversation for me. That doesn't mean anything to me anymore. I objectively observed that these people made heinous crimes, did heinous things, violated all sorts of laws, should be held accountable. There's a lack of accountability. So instead of continuing to talk about adrenochrome and Satanism and the ball of it all and all those different things, let's have a conversation about how we create like integrity in the election and how we replace the people that have had these, Biden has been in office for 47 years. Like that, I agree with you. That's the conversation we should be having. But instead, we focus on the, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the excitement of it all, which is unfortunately parlaying into the exact same conversation that you and I were having, that like, hi, sometimes I've got to post a silly meme because the silly meme is what gets me the engagement that keeps me on the person's timeline. So it's like it's this Ouroboros of like, we're kind of like moving ahead, but also eating ourselves at the same time. And until everyone can kind of get on that same page that you and I are on, then we're going to kind of, unfortunately, going to continue to have this conversation.
Okay.
Don't agree with me.
I don't disagree with you.
Right.
Let's
talk about something else then.
I just think that like one thing that I kind of realized a while ago is like there's really precious attention, and that's just kind of the thing that has continued to kind of keep coming back to me, is like people are really tuning in. And if I have the ability to change even a single conversation, I think that we grossly underestimate the capacity of what we can say and what effect that it has. Because people will hear one thing and they'll go out in their conversations and they'll be like, oh, like, did you hear this? I heard it on, I don't even remember where I heard it. I just heard it. Right. And it's like, right. And although, like I said, not to keep like circling back to it, it's like, I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk about the possibility that there's an incoming collapse and like Bill Gates is getting a divorce so he can protect whatever. It's just like, if we were to utilize that time for something that was more productive, like, couldn't it have more of a positive impact? So whatever, we can change the subject, but that was just something that I'm thinking about, where I'm just like, I wish we would spend more time talking about those things, because the sad part about it all is that I think when we really look at the spread of what is actually occurring, what we have to realize is that this is like a game. And as much as we hate to admit it, there's kind of like two sides to this game. It's like there's two teams. It's like the people that generally believe in like freedom, free thought, personal responsibility, and like freedom, America. And then it's people that believe in like socialism, communism, the government knows better than me, and everything should be dominated and controlled by the state and some centralized authority. So whether or not we want to say like, I'm on this team or that team, it's Republican, whatever, generally speaking, there's like two factions that believe different things. So what I'm saying is that like, if we're over here cooking on some shit that's like not a thing, while they're over here being like, yeah, like, fuck all those people, and they collectively agree that we're the devil, then like our lack of unity towards this cohesive message means that people that believe in socialism are like objectively winning. So even though I want to talk about all these theoretical things, what I think that they're talking about is like, there's 1,000 genders, Joe is great, Krusty is the best person there ever was, fuck the police, and like every other thing. So even though I want to play here, I'm like, we got to remember that if you were to look at a conference of people that are on this side and a conference of people on this side, they all unanimously agree that the United States is racist, sexist, the government is great, police are shit, whatever. And we're like, maybe it's like if we don't have a focused thing, it's like if we have 10 candidates and they have one, they win. So as much as I want to play, I just realize like this is a game, and if we're not putting points on the board, we're going to lose. And when I look at losing, I'm like, we got 2 years, we got 4 years. Like, what are we talking about? If we're squandering precious time thinking about things that are not productive to the cause, we might be losing ground. Damn, she froze again. What's up, people on Facebook and YouTube? She just froze again. I hope she comes back. Damn, she just froze again. That sucks. What's going on, Ryan? Scott says they outplay us all the time. I know. That's the thing, is like, that's what I'm trying to resolve, is like, I just hope that we can do more. I just hope that we can do more things that are going to be productive towards the cause. I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk about things that could be a thing. I'm just saying, like, if the other side's like defund the police and like that's they unanimously agree in that, it's like they're making progress towards winning that we're not. I'm not trying to demonize all the things, and I think Maria is brilliant, and that's why I love talking to her. So I want to keep. There we go.
Dude, Instagram does not want us to be together.
I know, they're clapping us. So we can move on to other topics, but I think just generally speaking, my disposition to the game is the following. I love what you're doing.
Okay.
I love what you're doing. I love all of the things that you say. I want to play there. But generally how I feel about it is like, if we spend too much time not focusing on the things that will objectively move the needle forward, so that in theory, people that look towards the right side of things can win, then in 2 years, we're going to get clapped again. And in theory, we'll get clapped in perpetuity forever. So it's like, as they pass all of these laws that will objectively steal our freedom, if we're like, Bill Gates might be like tax hate, like, it's like, we're all fucking looking over here and they're like, defund the police. Everything is racist. AOC, destroy everything. It's like, we need to realize that, like, we're in a game, and if we're like looking at the squirrel and looking at the tree and looking at the bush, we're missing while they're like dunking points on us. So it's like, I don't mean to devalue what we're doing. I just feel like there's more objective things that would like really benefit the world, and the hundreds of people that watch and thousands of people that watch, I feel like would help us. We could really help push the needle. Even like, you got to think about it. Like states like Atlanta, they lost by 12,000 votes. If we have 205 people on a live stream, 38 people on Facebook and YouTube, that's 240 people. Multiply that by 5 times a month, all the way up till, it's like you're talking tens of thousands of people plus the conversations that they have. So I'm saying, like, we could literally bridge that delta of 12,000 people and change objectively, like, the way that the entire world works, if we were to only focus on things that could objectively help move the needle. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to downplay what it is. That's all I'm saying, is like, I really think that we can do a lot of great things, and that's what I would love to spend more time focusing on.
I completely agree with you. I think my point is that we can have all conversations and that we can prioritize what is important to us. And that's the only point that I've tried to make tonight. So
yes.
Let's take a question or like go on a new subject.
All right. I saw.
I love the mean comments tonight, you know?
Yeah, I saw somebody earlier say that means a lot coming from a person that that changes what they say in order to not get censored. And I was like, oh, so I'm somehow. I was like, oh, so somehow. I was like, oh, so somehow I'm wrong because I'm smart enough to censor my words so that I don't get blocked, so that I can reach more people. What a loser. How stupid I am.
You're so cool. No, like, somebody called me really high, and I just be like, you guys, I'm really not that high. I'll get higher. I've just not been smoking very much some video.
I saw
somebody was talking shit the whole time earlier. I can't remember her name now. I commented, and that's when I got like frozen.
People are saying so anybody that's asking whether or not this is saved. So I have the YouTube and the Facebook is going to save all the way through. We've been going an hour on there. You won't be able to see you, but the audio of both of us talking is saved on Facebook all the way through and YouTube all the way through. Just so everybody knows.
Does anyone have a good question for Bobby and I? Bring it on. This is a deep glass, but this is like a good wine glass. That's what it's supposed to look like. There's really not a lot in here. I just keep taking like baby sips.
Somebody said, "What does Pompeo runs the world mean?" What it means is that people think that Donnie is living in a pineapple under the sea, running a shadow government operation, and that him and Pompeo are going to come from a Black Hawk and save the entire planet. And the White House lawn is owned by the Vatican, and Donnie is working on a secret upside down computer and communicating with Starlink to save the planet, which is not true.
Like that type of rhetoric, for whomever believes that to be true, please, I love it. Send me any tangible evidence that you have. Send me anything that Q is still real and like not who I think he is. You know, like send me anything. I would love to have a discussion on that. Bobby might not want to, but I will. But again, you guys, something tangible.
I don't dislike the conversation. In fact, I love it. But what I'm saying is that what I see is that we could do something more with it, with the time. I'm very cognizant of time. It's like the one thing in my life that I like am really, really, really sharp on. So it's like, let's just like, could we not fucking waste time on that? Like, let's talk about some shit that like will really matter, you know? Like maybe, but I don't know.
These comments are killing me. Somebody goes, "That's a vase." You guys, that's not a vase. But oh my god, these are so funny.
People on Facebook are like, "Hillary is dead." Is she?
Oh really? I can't see the face for some.
No, it's on my other screen here. I have 137 screens.
Oh really?
Yeah. Somebody goes, "When are they gonna kiss?" I don't think they understand that we're in different locations. Like it's like, what do you mean?
I'm in Tennessee. He is in Florida.
Yeah.
We might meet each other in a couple weeks.
We might.
If my trip falls through.
We'll live stream it.
Well, yes, we will. You can come over. We'll smoke weed. We will.
I don't smoke weed anymore.
Okay, I'll smoke weed.
You can smoke weed. I stopped smoking weed. I've talked about that a bunch of times. Yeah, I stopped smoking weed. I just drink a little bit sometimes now.
Do you feel better?
Yeah.
Oh really?
100%. Changed my life. I probably smoked, I would say like an average of 4 times a day, every single day from age 15 to 33.
Oh wow.
So you're talking like 18 years. I smoked every day. I mean, there was like a couple months here and there that I took breaks and stuff. And like, obviously if I went on a trip and didn't have any, but like I smoked probably an average of 3 to 5 times a day, every day for 15 years or 16 years. And I never would have thought that I would have ever stopped. And
really?
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
And like when I did, I was like, wow, I didn't really realize what was on the other side of this. Changed my life.
When we make out, Bobby, we can live stream it. That's what the people are asking for.
Perfect. That'd be great. We should make a OnlyFans.
Just for the weekend.
PSYOP OnlyFans, $69.99 a month. It's just one video. $69.99
a weekend.
Yeah, it's just one video. We can make it'd be like a boxing. It could be like a boxing event. You know how like with boxing events, they're just like 2 idiots up against each other. Like we could just be like Saturday night, 10 p.m. It's just like a 10-minute makeout. It's like make like $10,000. That'd be sick.
That would be funny.
All right. Someone says eat her butt. Okay. Whatever you say.
Maybe a couple weeks from now.
4747, they said. There you go.
47 is my number.
Oh.
It's a whole thing, you guys. So,
People get live on the comments. People on people
I love it.
People on Facebook are like, "Good job, bro." They're like, "Go for it." Yo.
I can only imagine what they're saying. Shit.
Somebody on Facebook goes, "This is getting boring. See you later." All right. We'll see you.
Okay, guys. Well, ask us a question. I probably will leave you here soon to go to bed. But what's a final question, guys?
Well, they can't see you, so they're just seeing me being like, Meh. That's what it is.
I see.
They're like,
My
what?
bad.
They're like, what are we? They're like, what are we doing? Someone's talking about Polish. Someone's talking about Polish sausage and sauerkraut. Somebody's like, I had sauerkraut. I don't know. Yo, I had I was gonna yell about so many different things. So one thing that I was talking about was, or one thing I was going to talk about, because I have like literally a list of like 50 things.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can leave you. Like, go do your rant.
No. That's not what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is, like, I had a couple of topics I want to talk about. One of them was AOC earlier was talking about how, I think it was like Pfizer stock went down today at the end of the session because they're talking about something about lifting the I guess the protections over the patent or something like that, even though it was started by the federal government. Anyways, the point is she was talking about how it was so good that Pfizer is supposedly losing money after they just had their most profitable quarter ever. And they're basically making more money, gangbusters, than they've ever made ever. And they're basically saying that all of the Corona Clap juice is going to be one of their most consistent income streams of all time. And it's just like, I just find it really sad and tragic that people are so fucking stupid that actually think that these companies are hurting now as a result of this.
Right.
It's like, how could you possibly say that?
They're making money hand over fist.
Tax dollars.
It's not just them. To make a very long story short, I had a girls' weekend this weekend in Colorado. And so I do this thing when I'm in a hotel. I call it robe life. And all that means is that, like, I just wear a robe the entire time I'm in my hotel room. So I'd like to, like, go get a robe and, like, lounge, and there was no robe. So I called down to the hotel, and I was like, hi, may I please have some robes sent up? And they said, no, we're not doing robes. It's about COVID. And,
what?
Oh, by the way, we're doing limited service. So, like, we're not going to clean your room while you're here.
Yeah.
If you want your room cleaned, please call us and let us know. So then the next day I called them and let them know, and they were like real weird about it and like put off. And I was like, you guys, I'm just doing what you told me to do. And at the end of the day, I was talking to my friend about it, and I was just like, so the corporate man who like owns the hotel has like less employees, less like if anything, if a pandemic was actually real, you would be wanting to do more laundry and like cleaning more soft surfaces more than ever. But like none of that's happening. So like they're paying less people, they're having less people employed, they're actually doing less and making more money. The corporate individual won. Like the COVID psyop was so fucking good for them because like the hotel experience, like I'm paying the same amount and I'm getting completely less amenities.
Yes. No, but somehow people think that this is an anti-corporation or this is some great victory for the little guy. When you call, like I call Gal, which I can't say, but I call Gal because I have some ads that I buy through them. And they're like, sorry, like our telephone support is not as available. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
Why would that be? You have one of the largest corporations in the world that makes like hundreds of billions of dollars that's going to use the Corona Clap as an excuse for not having as much support. So every company did that. Every company is making more money as a result of this. And it's just like, I don't understand how people can't see the fact that, like, don't you see how people are incentivized to continue this? It's like, how is that not blatantly obvious?
Okay, can I ask you a really random question?
Yes.
Do you ever wonder whether or not North Korea is like a real country?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Never?
No.
Okay.
What do you mean a real country?
Like, think about it. It's a country like ran by an individual who supposedly died like maybe like 2 or 3 times last year, whose like very good American friend was Dennis Rodman, and controls a company, or excuse me, a country in which we have like no information about, like no pictures about.
We have pictures.
Well, we have you seen some of the pictures? They're extremely limited.
Yeah.
And like there's this like one photographer that did like an extensive thing there. Like I think it's just wild sometimes to consider that like it's really a real place. You know, like have you heard the argument that like it's a CIA, like they basically like go do whatever they want there?
I mean, I have not heard that, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a real place.
Okay, maybe this is not the conversation for you.
Well, no, and I'm not trying to dismiss it like crazy. I'm just saying, like, I know a girl that taught English in South Korea. So what?
Right.
So what's north of South Korea? Just nothing, or just like a CIA psyop, just like studio, like an Amazon Castle Rock.
There's basically an argument for that like there is land there, but like this whole idea of like North Korea being this like dictatorship, like extreme communist country is really not real. And then there's a reason in which we've never seen like real actual photos of it. We have seen
photos of it.
No, but there are very, very limited photos of it.
Because everybody's trapped there. I mean, there's because everybody's trapped in there. That's why they don't allow those things to happen there. But there are photos and videos of it.
I think the reason like you and I are never going to work is because like I think of every possibility, and you think of literally 2 possibilities, and like that's it, and it can't be anything else anytime.
I disagree that I only think of 2 possibilities.
You just like cut me down like every single time.
I'm not good.
I want to talk about a possibility with you. You're just like, no, that's no.
Well, you asked my opinion. You didn't ask whether or not you could have that opinion.
No, I don't need permission to have an opinion. I'm just talking like the possibility in general.
Well, just because I don't believe that that's true doesn't mean I'm cutting you down, does it?
No, you're just saying like you're very like anti possibility. That's all. Ooh, everyone is so mean tonight. She is boring. She's gray. Whew.
Some people are dogging me. Some people are dogging you. Whatever. I don't even care. Doesn't matter. But look.
No, I just love looking at it.
I'm not trying to. I'm not. Look. Have I ever? Let me simplify it. I've never been to North Korea. I've never been to South Korea. I've never been to any Korea. I've not been near Korea. I haven't been to Asia. I haven't been over there. I have no idea. Could it be fake? Absolutely, 100%. Do I think that it's not? No. All I'm giving you is my perspective on it. It could be. I have no idea. But you were like, do you think? It's like, no, I don't. But you could totally be right. I mean, I have no clue. So it's entirely possible. I'm not trying to cut you down. I just don't think that it doesn't exist. But it's possible.
I gotta say, Cheney, if you're listening, I asked this question for you, so there you go. She said the North Korea thing, so I brought it up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, see, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of things that you could that anyone could say that are like that, where it's just like, is it? It's like, I don't know. And like for example, the best example that I can have is like people be like, oh, like, do you know about Corona Clap? Like, are you a doctor? And it's like, no, I'm not a doctor, but like, I've looked at lots of doctors that say things. So it's like, I don't know. And in theory, somebody could give me that point where be like, well, you're not a doctor, so you don't know. So it's like, okay, fine. Then like the conversation kind of ends there. So as it relates to this, it's like, maybe, I don't know, but my assumption is no, that it is real, that it's a very, very bad place.
I hope I can go there one day. My goal in life is to see like as many underground military bases as possible.
Why would you want to go to North Korea?
Why not? I want to like see everything for myself.
Well, okay. So instead of see, this is this is kind of a lot. This is kind of a lot of our differing views of the world, where it's like, I'm not saying why not. I'm just saying, like, why wouldn't you go to, like, Greece, Italy, Croatia, South America, Brazil first?
I still want to go to all those places.
So,
like, at some point, I would like to also go to North Korea,
Yeah. Okay. I agree with you on that. I just feel like I have 350 other places I would rather go before that. Like, other places.
Right, but like
Egypt.
I would go to like a national park and like look for like the stairs that exist there that like don't go anywhere, like the ones you're not supposed to. Like I want to go see like all the weird things in the world, and like that includes North Korea for me.
What about Chichen Itza?
Where?
Chichen Itza. You know what that is?
Where is that again?
Let me look it up right now. It's in Mexico, Yucatan, Mexico.
Like my goal in the next year, I like want to go see some ruins. You know, like I would love.
Mexico.
I don't think it's possible for me to like go to the Middle East and like see a pyramid at this point, but like I would like to go to like South America and like see some ruins.
Chichen
I
Itza.
want to feel some energy.
Chichen Itza.
Where's that?
Mexico.
Mexico. Okay.
I'm gonna
What
see.
about? Like, what should I know about it? Tell the people.
Well, it's one of the largest. It's one of the largest Maya cities, and was likely to have been one of the mythical great cities. Then there's another one. I forget the name of this one, but there's this one that they call it like the Alien Workshop, where it has like laser cut like marble bricks or some shit that like couldn't be cut by any technology even now, or like it would be hard, and they're just like scattered about. I wish I could remember what the name of it is. Maybe somebody in here knows it, but it's like.
What do you think about that kind of like rhetoric? You know, what do you think about the pyramids? What do you think about? Do you think like aliens helped that type of thing, or do you think we did that by like sound frequency, or that like somehow we were just that strong back then?
No, I think it was definitely aliens. What do they call them? What do they call them in Ancient Aliens? They don't call them aliens. They call them
the Anunnaki.
No, not that. No, I'm familiar with them, but no, there's a name. They call them something else. They don't just call them aliens. They call them. Oh, what do they call them?
Do tell.
There's a name that they say. They're not like it was aliens. They say it was extraterrestrials. I think it's highly likely that extraterrestrial life influenced the life on Earth. And I think that there's a lot of examples that justify that. Like, for example, stones that couldn't possibly have been moved by any technology at that time and other things. And I think that like the pyramids being power plants and a variety of other things like that, I think that those things are highly likely. So yes, absolutely. In addition to that, I think that a lot of the stories of sky gods, for example, being consistent on other continents that were not possible to travel that message from place to place in that amount of time, and them all kind of having the same similar message, I think that that is highly improbable that could be not extraterrestrial life. So yeah, I think that all of that stuff is probably very likely true. I think that the Anunnaki is definitely true. I think that ancient Sumerian is definitely something to pay attention to. I think that a variety of different things that are on Ancient Aliens have a lot of basis in fact. For example, like how do you know the exact angles that the moon and the stars rotate if that type of mathematics was not available at that time? How do you seal together brick without mortar so sharp and so on point that many years ago? I think that the reality is that human beings existed far beyond what we even think, and that it's highly likely that humans existed even before, and that there was probably likely a great flood that wiped out a lot of the technology and a lot of the human life forms and left together some of these things that were just like, why? So.
Right. No, I think it's very naive of us to think that we are the most sophisticated, the most technologically advanced civilization that has existed.
Yep, agreed.
I think I always like to make analogies to movies and like television shows because that paints a very good picture for like what I'm trying to convey sometimes to people. So there's a show on Netflix that it's called The 100. It basically showed that you could have a nuclear event and basically 150 years could pass and America would look like some sort of like jungle, overgrown.
Yeah.
Nothing would be there anymore.
Yep.
And you could essentially rewrite history in that way. And so ever since I've seen that, it's so interesting to me to just kind of like wonder what's actually real and not real about like history in that way and what's provided for us. So I don't really know. What were we talking about? What was the original part of this conversation? I've gone off on a tangent.
It was where we would go.
Where we would go.
Where you would go. You were saying that you wanted to go to all these places and see pyramids and whatnot, and then you were like, do you think aliens are real? And I was just like, yes.
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you. So I asked somebody sent this into my DMs the other day. Do you think there is a conversation to be had about like a quote unquote reptilian, like a quote unquote, like, do you think that aliens mated with us in some way? Like, do you think that humans are part alien?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yes.
Do you think that you've dated an alien before? I love this. Like, here's the comments have turned off. I wish I could see them now.
Do I think I've dated an alien before? I mean, I don't.
Somebody asked me this the other day, and I literally had to sit there and think about it. Like, you know, it's like, wait, have I?
My answer is maybe, but if I had to say yes or no, I would say no. But maybe there's two specifically that I'm thinking of. That it's like, could it be?
No, but somebody slid into my DMs and said that the other day. I was just like, wow. You know, we talk about like Anunnaki and reptilians and all these different things, and then we actually think about it. You're like, wait, if I actually think that's real, like, could that somehow be involved in my life in some way? So that was just funny.
Well, I think that it's highly likely that. I think that it's much more likely that we have part alien, if not a majority alien in us, more likely than like this person's alien and we're not. I mean, have you heard the theory that like pretty much every single person in the world is related to like a black woman in Africa, like 150,000 years ago?
Please do tell.
Yeah, there's basically like, well, generally speaking, the theory is kind of like all human life originated in like Sub-Saharan Africa, and like the first person, like kind of like the mother, like the Gaia mother, whatever, was like likely a black woman in Sub-Saharan Africa. And I think it's highly probable, and there's more than enough stories and evidence to suggest that throughout the way there were like low intelligence human life forms, whatever you want to call them, Neanderthals, whatever, and the women were taken by extraterrestrial life forms and impregnated by them. So I think that we are alien in and of itself. Like when you think about us as it relates to the world, we're different than everything. To think that we're not the aliens, I think is crazy. So I would say that like it's highly probable that we are aliens.
How much like percentage of alien are you, do you think?
I think that all of us are 100% alien, if not 90% or more.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think that all of us are mostly alien. I mean, think about your body. Your body regenerates skin. It regenerates pretty much everything other than bone. Like it can regenerate a lot of things. I mean, I'm not a doctor. Someone's gonna be like, it doesn't regenerate muscle, you chooch. But like we regenerate a fair amount of things. Maybe we regenerate skin. I don't know, whatever. Like, don't jump on my back. I'm not a doctor. But I'm just saying, like, we can regenerate skin. We can do lots of things. We can repair. Our bodies can repair. Like, there's a lot of different things about human beings that are unexplainably weird. There's things like clairvoyance and a variety of other things. I think that it's highly likely that, I mean, when you really think about it, what's an alien anyways? But yeah, go ahead.
What like weird things do you do? Like, are you clairvoyant? Do you have these sort of like weird characteristics? Can you things ahead of time? Do you have any sort of like connections, energy, universe wise?
No, I don't think that I have any. I don't think I have any heightened perceptions more than like your average person. I think that I have accentuated skills like any person has, but I don't know that they're exceptional beyond the capacity of any other normal person.
Are you into like Carl Jung or like synchronicities or like that type of like universal stuff at all?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So like, do you see synchronicity in that way? Like, does that mean something to you? Like, and if so, like, what meaning do you find in it?
Well, I think that generally speaking, and not to have everybody associate it with queefs, which I call 17s, but queefs, but
queefs?
Yeah, just queefs, because it's a word with queef. You get it. Think about it. Whatever. Anyways, I lost my train of queef. No.
Are you talking about something else?
No. What I was gonna say is that like I generally don't believe in coincidences for the most part. So I'd say that it's very highly unlikely that there are coincidences. I think that a lot of things are connected. I do believe in things like quantum physics. I do believe in things like matter being in two places at the same time. I do believe that in theory, life never began and never ended. I think that it's highly likely that there is no beginning and there is no end. Matter cannot be created or destroyed. And like, generally speaking, your life is just like one of many series of lives where you're.
We're like on the multiverse theory together then.
Sure.
Right. Somebody said I bequeath you, and I just like can't stop thinking about it.
Quantum queef.
Quantum queef.
Yeah, I mean, no, I generally feel like, well, let me, okay, before I fucking fall off the cliff, what do you think the purpose of life is? There's my question for you. What is the purpose of life?
Okay, I think that we are all interdimensional beings, and that we choose to come down to this like human level and like experience life and emotion and all that kind of stuff. I compare it to like you're getting your Girl Scout badges in some sort of way. Excuse me.
Corona.
That you have to like achieve certain levels or experiences in order to ascend in some sort of way. What that looks like for me beyond that ascension, I don't know, and I don't purport to know. I used to be very Catholic growing up. I was raised very Catholic and went to Catholic school, and I just can't. I can't connect with that type of God anymore right now. And not to say that like I'm never gonna connect in that way. I just don't exactly know what that looks like anymore. But I kind of believe in like the universe in that way.
So what's the purpose of life, though?
Or what's the purpose of life? Oh, that we're interdimensional beings. We're coming down and we're experiencing humanity on this human level in order to ascend to some sort of like higher plane. But like that, I believe in like reincarnation and like the multiverse, and that everything is kind of happening at one time. But that, I think that like the DMT and like the spirit molecule, like do kind of like that tesseract level. You can kind of experience that, but I think that's the great enigma of reality, is that like reality is so real all while being so fake, but like so real that we literally forget everything about ourselves basically prior to birth, when we're really kind of like weird and alien in nature. That it's all about experiencing this like weird simulated universe. You don't know how to respond.
Well, no, it's not necessarily a question that warrants a response. I was just curious at what your view on what the purpose of life is. So I think that
what's it for you then?
I think the purpose of life is to evolve. I think that the purpose of life is for your soul. I think that like really what we are is a soul. If you want to call it a spirit, whatever you want to call it, I think it's a soul. I think this is just a flesh vehicle that is carrying it at the present moment. So I think that the purpose of life is to evolve your soul to the next, whatever it may be. It could be, you could have started as a tree, and then it could be a giraffe, and then it could be a pelican, and then it could be a person, or whatever it is. But I think that generally speaking, the purpose of life is to evolve. Your soul travels through a variety of different bodies over the course of its life. And then it gets to a point where, in theory, it can help other souls reach other levels. And then you kind of like become a guide. And then I think that generally speaking, the purpose of all of it together is for everything to be constantly improving, filling with more love, expanding and evolving. I think the purpose of life is for us all to evolve and expand and grow. I think that the universe grows. I think that the amount of souls grow. I think that it's constantly just expanding. So in theory, when I say that like life never began and never ends, it's kind of hard to justify that when you say that like it's expanding because things are being created. So I don't really know how to explain the beginning, but I do think that that's the purpose of life, is to evolve. And our purpose is to figure out how to advance as much as we can, advance the people around us till eventually we get to a place where we can help and carry up more and more and more and more, which is why like for things like this, it's like this could in theory be our, let's say it's our 50th life, you and I, right? And it's like, what will we do to elevate as many people as possible to the next level in this particular journey? And that's why I think about things like talking about things that are like maybe true versus talking about things that like we know are true. And again, it's like, I'm not trying to
like,
rag on this.
How do you know something is true though? Like, I don't think there's anything is like such thing as a universal truth anymore. And like, if you believe in like the law of conflicting realities, you know, in the context of like the simulation of the universe. So like your perception of like an objective truth is relevant to like that conversation. But, like in general, like what is an objective truth at this time? It's like everything's all based on our own perception. A higher probability. So let me give you an example. If I say that I want to be an NFL quarterback versus I want to be a college football coach, there's a higher probability and likelihood that I could become a college football coach versus an NFL quarterback. Let me give you a more blatant example. I want to play in the NBA, but I'm not 6'7". The likelihood of me playing in the NBA is a lot less likely than me being a coach in the NBA. So I take the path of least resistance to something that has a higher probability of being true. It's not that I couldn't be in the NBA. Look at Muggsy Bogues, one of the shortest NBA players to ever exist. I think he was like 5'9" or something like that. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was a little tall. I don't know. But he was one of the shortest NBA players ever. What I'm saying is that the likelihood of you being an NBA player when you're 5'9" is much lower. So when I look at things, I'm like, do I want to say I want to play in the NBA and do something that's highly improbable, or do I want to be a coach in the NBA, which is much higher likely, or a college coach, which is much higher likely? So I'm not saying that these things are impossible. I'm just saying I like to focus on things that have a higher probability of being true. Right. I guess the point of like what I was attempting to ask you is that like your probability, your perception of like truth is all based on perception. Sure, that's fine. That's fair. That's your own perception. That's fair. So that's the only thing. Like you want people to focus like on some sort of like quote unquote universal truth, which is really just a truth in which you determine in your own mind based on your own perception of what you think is true and not true. And that's the thing I'm not trying, again, I hope anybody that's listening, like, I'm never being mean to people. Like, I'm not trying to, like, hurt anyone's feelings in any sort of way. I'm just saying, like, I get what you're saying, but I just don't think it truly makes sense that you're just like, let's not talk about possibilities. Let's, like, open our minds to everything, but let's only talk about what's, like, perceivably true at this point when, like, perceivably true is still based on perception.
It's not that I want to only talk about what's perceivably true. I just have an agenda that I believe has to be moved forward. The way that I look at it is like, I think that this shirt is blue.
Right.
Most people in the stream think that it's blue. It might not be blue. And if you're colorblind, it's not blue. But everybody thinks that it's blue. So, like, generally speaking, it's probably blue.
Like,
but it doesn't mean it's blue, though.
Very nice and, like, easy, like, toss up for you in like, what is and is not, like, an objective truth in that way.
Like,
I see you, but, like, that makes your argument very easy when it's not.
Yes, but I think that maybe we're having a disconnect on what I'm suggesting is the purpose. Like,
I'm not saying that, like, you and I have any sort of different purpose, or that, like, really anybody within this community has any sort of different purpose. But, like, what you think is beneficial to the community and what I might think is beneficial to the community are two different things.
100%.
Yours is based on a perception of what you think is true and more beneficial to the community and a better conversation, things that we should be talking about.
Yes.
Whereas I have more of, like, an objective, like, let's just talk about all possibilities. I'm not judging them in any sort of way. I'm merely drawing that distinction again because you think something is universal truth, but really that's just based on your own perception.
If you and I were sitting on a couch, I would never say these things.
Really? Why?
Because I think that the broadcasting element is the variable that brings the purpose into it. I think.
Will you repeat yourself? I'm sorry, you cut out for me.
I think the broadcasting element is what brings the variable in where I find myself challenged to have more depth to it because the time spent is fragile. What I mean by that is, like, if you and I are sitting on a couch and we're drinking wine and we're like, yo, like, could it be this? It's just you and I, right? And we're just jamming. Or it's you, me, and 5 people and we're all jamming. If we're recording it and broadcasting it and we're sending it out to hundreds of people, maybe thousands of people, what I'm saying is that I feel more of an obligation. I think you cut out again. I feel more of an obligation to give a different degree of quality simply for that reason. I think she cut out again. All right, well, if anybody else can hear me, I feel a different degree of. All right, so what I was saying was, I'll try to add her back in. What I was trying to say is that I feel a different obligation to bring more objective value when there's people watching and it's going to be broadcast versus being like, what if, because it's fragile, because it's like we're not just broadcasting all the time. Let's see if we can. All right. So what I was saying is that I feel more of an obligation, and maybe this is wrong. I don't know. Like, my account has only reached people since August. So I'm not like 5 years into this where I know for sure. But what I'm saying is that when it's recorded and broadcast, I feel more of an obligation to focus on the things that I think are universally beneficial or higher priority. Whereas, like, if you and I were sitting there, or like you, me, and 4 people are sitting there and we're just kind of bullshitting, I would feel like I would talk about anything and whatever, because it's not being broadcast out. Because people aren't watching it all the time, you know?
Like, we don't have an agenda, but we kind of have an agenda in the sense that
I have one.
We want, I'm not saying like you and I have like a specific like XYZ agenda, but like I want to open people's minds. I want to like break your eggshell. I want you to think differently than you before. I don't care that you think exactly the way that I think or how like crazy I could be at sometimes. I just want you to think outside of your own box. But I think probably we're maybe on the same page in that respect.
I think that we are on the same page, and I think that generally speaking, we both see things the same way. I think that
I think we're trying to have a broader conversation because everyone is listening. But in what you're saying, in reality, we would be very much on the same page.
I feel an obligation to. I feel an obligation to be productive towards objective short-term goals being reached. Whereas, like, if you asked me 5 years ago, I would have been like, yo, and I would have been all about it. But in this last year, I felt like I really need to set short-term objective goals for what the purpose and the impact can produce. And I feel an obligation to that makes me be like, yo, let's not talk about Bill Gates. Let's talk about HR1. Let's talk about federalizing the voting. And I don't mean that we always need to be like very rigid and whatever. Like I'm down to talk about like laser cut alien blocks. But what I'm saying is that, like, in the precious time that we have, it certainly would be troubling to me if we used our platform in totality to not like save America objectively in the things that we know that we could save it. But all we did was talk about alien blocks. As much as I love alien blocks, it's like, does that make sense? Like, I think we're both on the same page. I just feel more of like an obligation. I feel like, not that you don't. I feel that where I'm like, yo, I don't want to like.
But I have an obligation, but my obligation is different than yours.
Sure.
Mine goes back to the encompassing conversation rather than like the condemning perspective per se.
That's fair.
I wanted to call out someone. Hold on. Emily Ann 710 says that we're boring. So please ask us a question to enlighten the conversation. I would appreciate that right now. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm down to answer a question. People are like, is this a virtual date? Yes.
I don't know. Bobby and I might go on a date in a couple weeks, maybe, if you ask.
We might.
If I'm in town.
Yeah, you won't be there.
I don't know. I'm about to tell my dad I can't go on that trip because it's too much before like another trip. I have basically that trip and like another trip and like a day in between, and I just don't know that I can handle that. So maybe we'll get to hang out.
Well, you could shoot. See, here's you know what I did? So I talked with my buddy Ian on live stream a bunch, and I met him on Instagram, and me and him chatted a bunch, and we did a live stream together with us sitting together, and it's so much different because it's like the interchanges are quick. It's like, instead of like, you and I can like interrupt each other if we're in the same place, whereas like on here it's like stop because it has to transfer. And when him and I were together, it was one of my most watched live streams, like after the fact, ever. We did it like 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was one of the most watched live streams we ever did because we were like,
oh really?
We were like jamming quick. So in the event that does happen, we'll do one where we're like sitting together.
No, you'll come over. I have a new microphone. I've got 2 now. I used to just have one for myself, but I saw Human Vibration this weekend. And I was like, we got to do a podcast version. It was so great. So yes, I've got it. We would hit it. The live podcast is just like so different again.
Yeah.
Because you get the interrupting is like it's so much like sweeter in that time. Like the rest of the time, it's just so fucking annoying. Yeah.
No, it's a lot different. It's like, it's almost like when I talk to him online, I always like inherently I kind of felt like he was more rigid just because I didn't know. But like when you're sitting right next to the guy, like you kind of know how much you can kind of like jab a little bit. Not that like we're messing with each other, but like we kind of like could like we could razz each other a little bit more. It was a really interesting dynamic, and it was like much more fun when we were sitting together in the same place. And I think that the people could sense that just as we did it. So I think that would be beneficial for sure.
Right.
People are freaking out in the comments. I love it.
I love it. Horny aliens, indeed. We're all aliens.
Dude, people get so live on the chats late at night. Did the person ask you the question that you were calling out?
She most definitely did not. What was her name again?
I don't know.
I'm scrolling up. Good comments, though, guys. Still not a lot of questions, but great comments.
Somebody said put a strawberry in her butt.
Ooh, okay. First time for everything.
All right. I was told Antarctica is a huge freezer for Russian vodka. That's pretty good. Oh my God.
Where should I go in Nashville next weekend? I've never been there. Slide into my DMs and I'll give you more of a better answer because there's so much going on.
I feel bad. The people on Facebook are zapping. The people on Facebook are very upset. I feel bad. I wish there was a way that I could like link them in, but there's really no way.
Sorry, guys. Okay, well, Bobby, I'm actually gonna let you go because it's 11:36 and I gotta go to court in the morning and I gotta go to bed.
It's been a pleasure. Ooh, you got clapped right when you said that.
Oh, thank you for letting me hijack your live.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. I'll talk to you soon.
It's wonderful. Okay, bye.
Bye. All right. So Rose on Facebook is very happy that I just ended the live stream because now I'm just going to talk like normal. Everyone's very upset. That's okay. I'm just busting balls. People on Facebook are like, bye. Like, this is uninteresting. It's like, holy hell. Oh my God. People are asking why she's going to court in the morning. She's an attorney. That's why she's going to court in the morning. People are talking about viral shedding. Yeah, so what I think I should do, what I think I'm going to do. All right, let me ask you this. Let me tickle all your bags real quick. I had all these topics I wanted to talk about. So can the Facebook people not get Instagram? Some people on Facebook are very aggro and they're very upset that Instagram is like different and they don't want to go on Instagram or whatever. They don't like it. People are pissed. People are getting real aggro on both of these accounts. Everybody's mad. So let me ask you guys this. It's 12:38 in the morning. I didn't talk about very many things that I wanted to talk about. Not that I didn't greatly enjoy that conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed that conversation. But I had a bunch of different things that I was going to talk about. And just like a bunch of garbaggio trash that I was going to talk about, like from these from these articles that I shared with myself today, or that I had emailed myself today. So let me ask you guys this. Do you, and I probably know the answer to this question, but I'll ask you anyways. Do you want me to close the stream down, save and post what I just made with her, and then start a new stream? Because if I do, I'll start a new stream. I'll start a fresh stream on Facebook. I'll start it fresh. It'll reinitiate, and then I'll just chat. If you want me to do that, send me a thumbs up in the chat on Facebook and YouTube and on the gram. If you want me to do that, if you want me to restart the cham and just talk as I was going to talk anyways, hit me with a thumbs up in the chat and I'll restart the whole thing and I'll kind of just jam for a bit. I'm good. It's 12:39 in the morning. I'll just rip for a little bit. So if you want me to, I'll start it over. People on Facebook are live right now. Who would have thought that 12:39 a.m. is just crazy live? I know Chooks Official wants to talk. Chooks, you said you wanted to come into the chat and blow it open earlier. I'm not against having you in the chat. Maybe I'll jam for a little bit and then I'll have you in. You have to start it off by yelling like you weren't even here. All right. People just dropping lizards in the chat. All right. Jess says, what is it now? What now? People like yeah, people on Facebook are live. Yo, Chooks is always in the chat, and I've never talked to Chooks. Maybe I should talk to him. I know he's always been in here. I think he deserves to come in the chat. Maybe I should let him in. I would like to close it down and restart it though, because my comments are not being shown and shit. So I would like to start it over. Holy hell! Bob Tralala says Facebook is for fat people. Holy Christmas! Oh my God, that's violent. Close it down? Shut it down? All right. Facebook is for people who eat boogers. Holy hell. All right, listen. This is what I'm about to do. Yo, oh my God, I have a funny shirt on. This is what I'm going to do. I didn't take the juice. Yeah, I'm going to save this live. I'm going to post it. If you're on Facebook, go on Instagram. That's that because I think I'm going to bring Jukes on if he wants to talk. So I'm going to let me close the live down. Let me close it down. I'm going to reinitiate it, and I'll be back in like 2 minutes. I'm gonna post this. I'll let it upload. It'll take like 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll restart it. Yeah, the world is trash. MD Marco says it's only 10:30 in Utah. Do what you do, boss. All right then. Cinco de Garbo. Yeah, I'm gonna go get a donut. All right, Facebook and Instagram. I'm gonna shut it, or Facebook and YouTube. I'm gonna shut it down. I'm gonna restart it. I'll be back in 5 minutes or less. Facebook and Instagram. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna close it down, post it, and then reinitiate.